1962 Glasspar Marathon. Pulling the boat out. It's been sitting for about 2 years. Needs a little love. Definitely gonna need some new carpet. The floor isn't in the best of condition, let's say. But the reason it's been not used is because the steering went out. So it's a good time to go ahead and renew a lot of this. The engine is a 1962 Johnson Super Seahorse, 75 horsepower. Still runs, been able to keep it going. Parts for it are getting hard to find. But yeah, we're gonna try to clean her up a little bit, just get her usable. She ain't gonna be super pretty, but she'll be fun. She still floats. She's still somewhat solid. Yeah, time for a new cable and other things on this boat. But it's still going. Well, it's still somewhat solid. Needs to be sealed. Might be making it difficult to turn. Cleared the spool. And we're just going through the line, making sure it's laid out right, get a good idea of how it's supposed to be before I go and take it out. It looks like it's just supposed to be one piece. And the two ends are supposed to meet up here in the middle. And so then as it spins, they'll move up and down the spool. And obviously right now it's not spinning nice because the casing's off the wire in spots, so it's making it jam up. But I think most of my hardware, original hardware, is gonna be usable. And then that's not helping not being bolted in, obviously. So we're gonna remount everything, see if we can make it look good. I mean, original steering wheel too, from what I understand. It's cool, 1962, and a lot of this stuff is in still really good shape. Why can't they build stuff like that anymore? Big washers, one little washer. A lot of spacers, huh? Yeah, maybe this isn't a factory steering wheel. Screws missing. Think about it, 1962. I'm pulling it off the threads with my fingers pretty much after we got past the lock washer that was still doing its job. I mean, crazy. I'm sure that cable's been replaced though. Look at that. Blue cable, you think they had that blue cable in 1962? They've had to have changed it at some point from 1962 to now. I mean, I just assume. I think this cable's seen better days. All right. Got the spool taken down. Got the cables out of the pulleys. Have to get up in here and start pulling the cable out. Pretty simple little hardware design, huh? Routing it through with like a little piece of copper wire, it looks like. It's funny. So yeah, just gonna pull the cable out. This way I get to have the cable as a whole and can pretty much measure out exactly what I need. I bought like 40 something feet of cable, so I should have enough. And we are uninstalled, easy enough. Hey, hidden key. So we are done, it's out. Now I gotta go figure out this mess and wind up a new one and come reinstall it reverse. Shouldn't be too bad. So I figured I'd show you how to load up one of these spools for your steering on a boat with a outboard or cable steering. So you come in through this top piece first. All right, get it pushed through. Then we're gonna go ahead and pull a bunch of slack. So you can take it and just put it right down that bottom hole right there. You have it pulled through. Then you're gonna run it till you have half of your line. Once it's around the middle, you take this and you just run it around, wind it up the spool, one on each side. You can go the opposite. And you fill them up until they meet in the center. Once they meet in the center, pretty much whenever you turn, they just turn the opposite, so the gap will go. So spooling it up until they meet right about here. So wound up the first half to the center, and I used electrical tape and taped it up. Coils are kind of a pain. They don't really want to bend, so put it together. Otherwise, you're gonna keep playing with exploding spaghetti the whole time. And that's no fun. Got it wound up to the center. Or you could just not use anything, deal with cables that want to come undone. But one here, and you just run the two ends back in the same way it came in. Once you have everything in and pretty much started and pulled tight, you should be able to pull the electrical tape off. So I went ahead and got both sides ran in from the front cables. We'll go back and start getting it ran in the back. You might start mocking them up. And then once you know you have enough slack back here and everything was good, that you didn't cut yourself short, we'll go up to the front and we'll start putting it back together. So they originally had a screw that was in these holes from the back, and it's what held the spool in from the back. And obviously they fell out, dry rotted. 1962, still in use. But did the same thing here, and I cut studs. They're about the right length of what I want. And we're gonna go ahead and pretty much glue these in place. I haven't decided which type of glue I want to use yet. I'll kind of stop them from spinning. Once there's tension on them from the nut, they're not going to go anywhere. All right, well, I'll show you what it looks like when we start to get it together. All right, I got both of the studs threaded through. I'm going to just glue them in place. I don't know if much of you know about it, but super glue and baking soda. It's a good little mix. Baking soda will make the super glue cure like instantly. You don't want it to run down, so. Take some of the magic powder, just dust it on there, and the super glue and the baking soda, they'll instantly cure. So let's go ahead and get that other one. Fairy dust. Yeah, if you didn't know about super glue and baking soda, it's a good little hack. I use it for everything. I've repaired so many things with super glue and baking soda, and it always holds up. I mean, it's never been the super glue failing, like super glue baking soda mix failing. It'll be like something else failing next time, so it is pretty strong. Anybody know about it, you know what's up. Well, got the studs out the other side, and we're gonna start putting it back together. Again, we got our cable ran already both sides, and our spool is set up. Again, we got to make sure that we set up our set it up so our wires or our cable are on the right orientation. We want them to be on top, so that way they line up level with these. So we got it on, and pretty much just bolt it down. There we go. Okay, cool. Hopefully I'll pull it tight down. Let's see. Pretty solid. Feels good to me. All right, so we're gonna pull our slack. Again, we want it on top. I'm still gonna leave all of this electrical tape here. I'm gonna take any of that off yet. We're gonna go to the back, and we're gonna go get all of this tightened up first. Let's go to the back. Here, before we go to the back, let's look at that. Looks like it held all right. It didn't get pulled in, and it seems way more solid than it was before. So I think we're gonna be okay with that. I know some of you are wondering why I didn't just put a bolt all the way through with the head on it, and if it comes down to it, I will. But trying to fit this over it into that gap was kind of difficult, so I figured stud would be a little better considering they had screws in it before. So we stepped up for sure. All right, so we got all the cables ran to the back, and we're getting ready. We're gonna use we got our cable clamps, and they're pretty much prepped so that way they fit over the cables easily. Like, you don't want to have to sit there and fight trying to screw all this together. Get your clamps prepped first. Once you know you can get them slid over the cables easily, then proceed. You're pretty much gonna route this stuff almost any way you want as long as it's right. That sounds right.
But anchor it all down.
So let me get it kind of set up a little bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I got my first line, very loosely ran. So let's get the other side now. All right, once you got both sides just loosely ran, you're gonna want to go to the front and make sure that your spool is still centered before you start pulling on these and tightening them up. All right, so we're centered. We can pull on it. It's obviously not tight enough yet. As we're doing it and we're tensioning, it shouldn't really pull too much because we have both anchored. So this one is a little bit more. Pull that away. So we're gonna do the starboard side first then. All right, let's go tension at the starboard side a little bit more. So I'm looking at where these pulleys mount up, and they go below this bar, and they're at a downward angle coming, and it's wearing on that plate. Bad angle there. I bet you somebody's had this off. Looking at that. And I bet you this is supposed to be flipped on top, because then that would put the pulleys on top, and then that would fix my bad angles coming down. I'm gonna try it. Worst that happens is I'm wrong. All right, so they're flipped to the top now, and don't you just love having to do things twice? I wonder why they were upside down, because I think they're upside down looking at these pulleys and the way they're wearing. Yeah, from flipping that, definitely brought this line up. Gave me a tiny bit of clearance on the cable. I'm not actually touching now. Actually, there's a clearance there. So if I can work on getting this plate to come down a little bit, there's a little bit of separation. It's crazy bad, but I'd like to fix it. All we gotta do is the final adjustments of tightening all this and making it look clean and cutting the cable. So let's get to it. Now that we got everything snugged up, pretty much tight, I want to spread out these buckles later and make them fit into the cable better. Got everything in place. All right, now that everything's installed, I think it's time we can take off the electrical tape. What do you think? Do you think this electrical tape was a good idea? Because it worked, that's for sure. It's definitely where it was supposed to be. It was being a pain staying on this spool, so I recommend it. Well, cables ran. Pretty much got them, the clamps adjusted where I want them. Engine is pretty centered. And then we're good. Tension. I kind of run mine a little tight. I went for the tighter end. But I can always adjust them or change them if I need to. So let's just get that steering wheel on. All right, start laying this back down. Doesn't move. And it moved like crazy all over the place before, so not anymore. Yay. Looking good. Feels good. Well, feels like we have an operational steering wheel again. Yay. Start getting her ready and getting her cleaned up. Be out in the water here in a couple days. All right, last little thing. Make these the length that we need. There we go. One more. These things are pretty badass, honestly. This cable, it's stainless steel. It's not easy to cut, I promise you. Like, went through it pretty much like nothing. Looks good. We got steering. Yay. Well, we're gonna get that tested. See how it goes. Got the cable all nice and repaired. She should do good. She thinks she's gonna get in this cold water. She's brave, she might. They're pretty girls. Yep. Get that test in. Think it'll hold up for the season. Yep, she's working. Steering works good. It steers again. Big success, you guys. Getting cleaner out here. Heck yeah, it's doing 37. It does pretty good. Not bad. Probably get a little softer water and a little tuning. Probably get it to 40. It runs good.